Coming up, staying tuned for a deep dive on Lexington's housing crisis and one family's experience finding a place to live. Lexington City Attorney has been removed from his position. Find out what the next steps are for the city. Bomb threats made in the last few days at Virginia Military Institute and Washington and Lee University have turned out to be false. Learn what the consequences could be for the students who made the threats. As holiday travel approaches, weather anchor Chaz Chappell has your 5-day forecast. We'll fill you in on new same-sex marriage protections nationwide and Brittany Griner's return from Russia. And a Christmas tree shortage has put a damper on holiday cheer for some families. We'll tell you why trees are so hard to find this year. All that and more coming up on the Rockbridge Report.
Live from the campus of Washington and Lee University with news from Rockbridge County, this is the Rockbridge Report.
Welcome to the Rockbridge Report. I'm Victoria Ernst.
And I'm Avalon Purnell. Brittany Griner is on her way home. The WNBA star has been detained in Russia since February of this year. Her case drew international attention with advocates demanding her release. Isabel Rosales reports.
She's safe. She's on a plane. She's on her way home.
After 9 months spent in Russian detention, WNBA star Brittany Griner is finally free.
Today is just a happy day for me and my family, so I'm going to smile right now.
President Joe Biden sitting alongside Griner's wife in the Oval Office as he spoke to the Olympic gold medalist on the phone.
This is a day we've worked toward for a long time.
Griner was arrested on drug charges at a Russian airport last February. Testifying, she inadvertently packed the cannabis oil found in her luggage. She was sentenced to 9 years in prison in early August.
She endured mistreatment in a show trial in Russia with characteristic grit and incredible dignity.
Griner's lawyer confirming the release was part of a prisoner swap with convicted arms dealer Victor Boot. The exchange did not include Paul Whelan, another American the State Department has declared wrongfully detained in Russia.
For totally illegitimate reasons, Russia is treating Paul's case differently than Brittany's.
The president promises efforts to secure his release will continue.
BG and I will remain committed to the work of getting every American home, including Paul, whose family is in our hearts today as we celebrate BG being home.
In Washington, I'm Isabel Rosales reporting.
A judge unsealed a dropped bomb threat case today against a Colorado gay bar shooting suspect. Anderson Lee Aldrich allegedly killed 5 people and wounded 17 others at the LGBTQ enclave Club Q. Aldrich was arrested in June 2021 on allegations of making a bomb threat that led to the evacuation of about 10 homes. Defense attorneys say Aldrich is non-binary and uses they/them pronouns. Law enforcement documents say Aldrich had threatened to harm their own family and boasted of having bomb-making materials, ammunition, and multiple weapons. Aldrich was also the subject of a tip received by the FBI a day before the bomb threat. It is unknown when unsealed documents will be posted online.
The House has voted in favor of passing the Respect for Marriage Act. This measure, which protects same-sex marriage and interracial marriage, moved ahead by a final tally of 258 to 169.
The motion is adopted.
The bill now heads to President Joe Biden's desk to be signed into law. Same-sex marriages will not be legalized nationally once this measure becomes law, but all states will have to acknowledge gay unions from other states. Across the nation, there is a shortage of affordable housing due to rising prices. Lexington is not immune. The median cost of a home in Lexington has risen 27% in the past year. Whitney Stewart Braddock, a single mother and part-time employee at the local Arby's, has lived in government-subsidized housing since 2010. She currently lives in an apartment at Mountain View Terrace Housing, a Section 8 housing complex, which is the only multifamily affordable housing unit in Lexington. Adam Liberti is live at Mountain View Terrace. Adam?
Is Mountain View Terrace Housing, which is composed of 40 housing units. It's also the current home of Whitney Stewart Braddock, who's been living in affordable housing since 2010. She shared her story with me and Carly Snyder.
So my name is Whitney, and I work in town in an Arby's. It's not great, but it's a great job. Honestly, I tried looking on the market for an apartment, seeing if I could do it, if I could afford it, and I couldn't find anything. It's incredible. It's ridiculous, the amounts of money just for a one-bedroom apartment. So, of course, my fallback plan was to come here. I've always been an excellent tenant, and I knew I would always have a place here. My challenges were trying to afford affordable housing in Lexington. And I'm not, being a military town, you got VMI, WNL, and of course, mom and dad can help you afford it. And most of the people that live here, your usual locals, they can afford it. Occasionally if they have help and assistance. But most of the time, like me, if I didn't get any help, if I didn't live here, I'd probably be pretty screwed. But it's a big challenge. Personally, this place that I live here has helped me a lot more than I deserve. And the landlord here has really went out of her way to make sure that her people here are safe, are taken care of, are completely taken care of. And to be personally honest, as long as this place is standing, I don't think I'll ever leave.
Whitney is just one of many who have struggled to find affordable housing, a trend which is likely to continue into the new year. Reporting from Lexington for the Rockbridge Report, I'm Adam Lamberti. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Adam. You can read the full in-depth story about the housing crisis in Lexington by Adam Lamberti and Carly Snyder on our website, rockbridgereport.wlu.edu.
Ousted Peruvian President Pedro Castillo has appeared in court on charges of rebellion. Before Castillo's arrest, Congress voted to impeach and remove the president from office. This happened after Castillo announced he would temporarily dissolve Congress and made a call for congressional elections to take place within 9 months. Castillo's successor is his former vice president, Dina Boluarte, who is now Peru's first female president. She was sworn in as president and will remain in office until July 2026. Lexington's former city attorney, Jared Jenkins, was ousted from his position last month after he split from Mann Legal Group. That move comes after he was banned from practicing in Rockbridge Circuit Court and ordered to pay fines to the court under threat of jail time in October. Jenkins paid those fines in November. Meanwhile, Lexington is seeking a new full-time city attorney. Jenkins will stay on as Goshen's town attorney. Read the full story by Shauna Muckle online at rockbridgereport.wlu.edu. Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, 62 new apartments may be built on Spotswood Drive. Find out why some local residents are not pleased.
It's been raining pretty hard these past few days, but will the downpour continue into the weekend? My predictions? Coming up.
And watch a four-legged member of the Lexington Police Department make his debut on the job. Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. New developments are unfolding in the FBI's investigation of classified documents stored at former President Donald Trump's home in Florida. Sources tell CNN a search has uncovered 2 documents with classified markings at a storage unit in Florida used by the former president. Those documents have now been handed over to investigators. The news comes after a jury found the Trump Organization guilty in a tax fraud case. CNN's Sarah Murray reports.
It's tax fraud, but really it's cheating, it's lying, it's greed.
Mr. President!
Former President Donald Trump under pressure from an ever-growing pile of legal problems.
You have the namesake company of a former president of the United States held accountable by a jury by way of a criminal conviction.
A Manhattan jury finding 2 Trump Organization companies guilty of multiple charges of criminal tax fraud and falsifying business records, part of a 15-year scheme to defraud tax authorities. Trump and his family weren't charged in the case, but the investigation into Trump's companies continues.
This is one chapter, an important chapter, but there are a lot of, tentacles.
Trump also grappling with 2 federal probes, an investigation into his handling of classified government documents after he left the White House.
This is a new hoax, the document hoax.
And a sprawling probe into efforts to subvert the 2020 election.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol.
Amid concerns from the Justice Department that Trump is still holding on to sensitive government documents.
It's not a crime. And they should give me immediately back everything that they've taken from me because it's mine. It's mine.
Trump's lawyers recently hiring a team to search Trump Tower, the Bedminster Golf Club, and 2 other properties for classified materials, a source tells CNN. They found at least 2 items marked classified in a storage unit in West Palm Beach. The investigation into the 2020 election also moving ahead, with more grand jury testimony from former Trump advisor Stephen Miller.
Simple principle: one citizen, one vote.
And special counsel Jack Smith firing off a fresh round of subpoenas to county election officials in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Arizona. Investigators seeking more information about communications from Trump and allies such as Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell with battleground state officials. Adding to Trump's headaches,
we have made decisions that criminal referrals will happen.
The House Select Committee investigating the January 6 attack on the Capitol, weighing criminal referrals for Trump and a number of his closest allies, sources tell CNN.
The facts support a potential charge against the former president. And, the Justice Department, in my view, needs to hold, everyone equally responsible before the law.
Sources tell CNN committee members are not expected to reveal the names of people they criminally refer to the Justice Department. 2 students at the Virginia Military Institute and Washington and Lee University face potential criminal charges after posting anonymous bomb threats on social media last week. Police determined neither post posed serious threats to VMI, WNL, or the surrounding community. The Commonwealth's attorney will determine if charges need to be filed. The students will go to separate disciplinary actions at each school.
Lexington residents may see 62 additional apartment units within city limits in the next few years. Richmond-based developer Echelon Resources is seeking final approval from the city this week to develop 2.3 acres on Spotswood Drive. These apartment units would be market rate and target young professionals. Lexington City Council members have long said the Spotswood Drive site should become multifamily housing. Members of the public have repeatedly objected to any development on the site. A flyer began circulating yesterday, urging residents to oppose Echelon's permit request this week. Check out Shauna Muckle's full story at rockbridgereport.wlu.edu. About half of Rockbridge County public school students qualify for free and reduced meals. This means while schools are closed for winter break, many families will turn to local nonprofits for extra food this holiday season. Read Lily Mott's full story online at rockbridgereport.wlu.edu.
The Lexington Police Department expects to have a mounted unit in the near future, and one of the horses made his festive debut last week.
Police Chief Angela Green led the Lexington Christmas Parade alongside one of the future mounted unit horses. Green told us she hoped both horses, Buddy and Jasper, would be ready for the parade. Buddy was decked out in holiday gear, but Jasper did not make an appearance. Community members were excited to see the horse lead the way, followed by police and fire vehicles, and more importantly, a poop pickup wagon. In Lexington, Steph Chigalori for the Rockbridge Report.
Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, catch the story behind Washington and Lee Generals Wrestling's improvement with a team member who delivered some of its victory yesterday.
And as winter sports seasons open, sports anchor Addie Grace Cook has your local scores. Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. It's been raining on and off all week.
Yeah, winter's approaching, but we haven't had any snow here. But I heard on the West Coast there's been a lot of snow.
That's right. So snow and fog contributed to a 30-vehicle pileup in Washington State. 18 cars and 12 semi-trucks crashed on Interstate 90 near Ellensburg yesterday. At least one of the trailers spilled its contents on the highway when it turned sideways. Washington State Patrol troopers say only minor injuries were reported. Authorities say freezing fog was the main contributor, but troopers say speed was also a factor in the pileup. There's lots of snow going on the West Coast, but it's a different story here in Rockbridge County. Let's go take a look. Move on over to this live shot here of Mountain View Terrace here in Lexington, Virginia. Let's get into the weather. Checking out our current conditions, we can see for the rest of the day there is a high of 54 degrees, a low 47 degrees, a barometric pressure of 30 and 21/100 inches, a wind speed of 3 miles per hour, and humidity at 45%. Taking a look at our radar, we can see a lot of what we've been seeing all week, just tons of rain cover throughout the region. We've had a lot of rain, in some days pretty torrentially, but will it continue to the weekend? Let's find out. But before we do, let's check out the current conditions throughout the region. We can see here Lexington, rainy and 52 degrees. 10 minutes down the road in Buena Vista, also rainy and 52 degrees. Up here in Stanton, it's cloudy, no rain, and 53 degrees. Similar deal in Charlottesville, cloudy and 55 degrees. Down here in Lynchburg, cloudy and 53 degrees. Moving over here real quick, we'll see Covington here at rainy and 56 degrees, so a little bit higher in temperature. And down here in Roanoke, it is rainy and 55 degrees. Checking out our 5-day forecast, we can see the rain is starting to disappear, but the cloud cover remains. On Friday, we can see a high of 47 degrees and a low of 41 degrees. Saturday, it's a high of 45 degrees and a low of 38 degrees. Checking out Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, we can see right here, it continues to be cloudy on Sunday, high of 48 and a low of 35. But then the sun is coming back on Monday and Tuesday with a high of 48 on Monday and a low of 32, and continuing, as I've said, more sun into Tuesday with a high of 44 degrees and a low of 28 degrees. Avalon and Vic, back to you.
Thanks, Chaz. Coming up after the break, University of Virginia football players have been granted an extension of eligibility following their recent tragedy.
And if you're wondering why your Christmas tree is so pricey this year, we have some answers. Soon on the Rockbridge Report.
Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. The NCAA just announced which college teams are going to playoffs.
Yeah, and the NCAA also had some news for UVA football players. Addie, can you tell us more?
I'd love to. Really exciting day for UVA. The NCAA granted an extra year of eligibility to University of Virginia football players whose eligibility had expired in the aftermath of the slaying of 3 members of the team. The school confirmed the deal yesterday. Lavelle Davis Jr., Deshaun Perry, and Devin Chandler were killed last month as they returned to campus from a field trip. Former UVA player Christopher Darnell Jones Jr. is facing 3 counts of second-degree murder and other charges in the shooting. Virginia canceled its final 2 games of the season after the shooting. Washington and Lee's men's wrestling team conquered Ferrum College yesterday. Mackenzie Kane interviewed a senior wrestler about the team's transformation over the past few years.
Good afternoon, Rockbridge. I am here at Washington and Lee University, just outside of their Doremus Gymnasium, where the Generals wrestling team has just defeated Ferrum College with a score of 27 points to 7. I'm joined here by Riley Parker. About 3 years ago, this program played Ferrum University and won by 3 points, such a narrow margin. And tonight, you guys absolutely dominated. What would you attribute that to?
I would attribute today's victory to all those guys that competed back when we only won by a couple points. They helped really lay the groundwork, the foundation for what our team is today. Those guys, got to mention them because they had a tough time with the pandemic cutting their season short, and they took it well and instilled into us this feeling of like not letting that sort of stuff bring us down. And we took the opportunity to train during the pandemic when we didn't have a season and not let our foot off the gas pedal and keep doing what those guys did back then. And now, the results are starting to pay off.
And this is the first season that the ODAC conference re-sponsored wrestling. What has this season meant to you?
It's pretty special to have these dual meets at home and in Virginia and around the ODAC. Now we get to be a part, like the other sports, of having these fun duels and competitions that all the students can go to. So, it's just a lot of fun. It's the start of something great.
Thank you so much for your time, and best of luck moving forward in the season. And signing off with the Rockbridge Report, I'm Mackenzie Kane.
Washington and Lee University basketball is off to a solid start this season. Women's basketball defeated Virginia Wesleyan University 76-60 on Saturday. And they also won over local opponents Southern Virginia University 75-66 on Tuesday. Generals men's basketball fell in a close contest to Roanoke College yesterday, 79-73. Virginia Military Institute men's basketball is also off to a smashing start. The Keydets beat Navy 80-72 on Saturday, and they conquered Carlow yesterday, 106-67. Southern Virginia University basketball is also laying out a successful start. The Knights men's basketball team squeaked by Ferrum with a 92-90 win on Saturday. Women's basketball soundly defeated Meredith 86-58. That's it for sports. Back to you, Vic.
Thanks, Addie Grace. With 17 days until Christmas, the market for trees has almost completely dried up in Lexington and Rockbridge County. Many families might go without trees this year. Tyler Palisha reports on the local supply of Christmas trees.
Disruptions to the supply chain are affecting the market for Christmas trees in Lexington and Rockbridge County.
Last year they were probably $10 to $20 cheaper than this year, and they were in larger supply. It just seems that the supply of trees is getting less every year.
Richard H. Carter, co-owner of Herman's Produce, says this season marks the worst shortage since he started selling trees 13 years ago. He says that big box retailers aggravate the issue by buying up most of the available trees.
They buy more, and they buy more bulk, and you know, at the one time then we can't compete with it. Yeah, of course my prices is higher, but mine's shaped better and they fresher cut.
Carter sold almost 400 trees this season. He ran out of inventory last weekend.
A lot of people that shop with me won't have trees this year.
Henson Christmas Trees has supplied the area with trees for the past 24 years, but this year the business did not set up its market in the College Square shopping center. Lexington's Walmart is not currently selling full-size Christmas trees, and neither is Tractor Supply Company. Lexington's Lowe's was selling trees until the location ran out of inventory on December 4th. Last week, students enrolled in Rockbridge County High School agriculture classes sold trees for $40 apiece outside the school. They sold 76 trees in less than 12 hours, and all proceeds benefited Gwendolyn Gosney's forestry class.
Yes, so typically the guy sets up at Tractor Supply, but he was not there this year. So I really think that helped our business, and also it was pretty much everybody locally wanted the trees, and they like to support the students.
Herman's Produce received 130 more trees on Monday. That was the last shipment of their season. About 20 of those trees are left. Lowe's will not receive any more shipments this season. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Tyler Palisha.
Jill Sidebottom, a seasonal spokesperson for the National Christmas Tree Organization, told the Rockbridge Report that there has been a shortage of Christmas trees since 2016.
That's all for this semester's Rockbridge Report. Our live broadcast will return in January.
Check out rockbridgereport.wlu.edu for more local and national news. Thank you for watching, and happy holidays.